Welcome to the Advoco Guide, How to Complete a Spanish Residency Application. This is part 2 of the guide. In part 1 we looked at the practicalities of making an application. In part 2 we're going to concentrate purely on the form EX16. We're assuming for the purposes of this guide that you're an EU citizen who already has their own NIE number. If you don't, or you're not an EU citizen, or you've simply got more queries, take a look at the website for more information. To bring up the residency application form, you can go to our website by typing Advoco residency into Google, clicking on the Advoco Spanish residency page, and clicking on the link EX16, which is the number of the form in PDF format. You can't fill in the form and save it to your hard drive. You have to print off a blank copy and fill it in, preferably with a black biro and in capital letters, because that's what it stipulates on the form. Starting first with section 1, personal details. You enter your NIE and your passport number in the top line. Ignore the second line, which is for people without passports but with national ID documents. The next line has apellido, your surname, and the space for a second surname if you have one. Nombre, your first name, and then fecha de nacimiento, your date of birth. Lugar de nacimiento is your place of birth, usually the town that you have on your passport. The sex can either be H hembra, which is female, put a cross in that box, or M macho, male, put a cross in that box. Estado civil means matrimonial status, and there are 5 options: S for single, C for married, V for widowed, D for divorce, and SP for separated. Next we have país de nacimiento, your country of birth, perhaps the UK, your nationality, perhaps again the UK, the name of your father, padre, and name of your mother, just the first names, madre, then the space for your address, including the localidad or town, and CP, postcode. I normally leave the telephone number blank. The last 2 parts of section 1 are for you to tell the Spanish authorities, firstly, how long you intend to stay in Spain. If it's an indefinite period, which it normally is, you can put something like siempre, S-I-E-M-P-R-E, which is always. Fecha acreditada, inicio, is when you started your residency period, which could be a few days before the application or when you arrived in Spain to take up residency. Section 2 should be ignored and left blank. It's for people without an EU passport who are applying because they have family members in Spain. Section 3 just requires you to put a cross here where it says Certificado Registro, which just says this is what you're applying for, a certificate of residency. If you're leaving Spain and you want to go off the register of foreigners in Spain, you should cross under Baja Certificado. The rest of the boxes here are again for non-EU foreigners. The last section is section 4, which you have another place to put your address. You can either leave this blank, or perhaps better to fill in your normal address like you did in section 1. The reason why this section is here is for people who want to specify an alternative address, such as their lawyer, for any notifications. But as you get the residency on the day of your application, in most cases these days, an address isn't really necessary anyway. Just before the signature at the end, you have to put the place, day, month and year of your application. The place being the place where your police station is, where you're going to make the application, just the town where the police station is. Sign inside the white rectangle And finally, put a cross in the box where it says C here, which just gives your assent to your data being used under the Spanish Data Protection Act. That concludes the form.